The importance of delegation and using systems, including software and AI. It happens to be what we were talking about that day, but it also listened to everything we were saying. So then I get the big idea, says, okay, well, give me some more. And it says, okay, here's the dominate motion. Now, I just learned to use these prompts by buying a $1 book. This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. All right, so hey everybody, today's episode, Rob and I, as you notice, I got my screens up because I wanted to be able to whiteboard some stuff, my dueling whiteboards. But we're going to be talking about business confidence. And Rob and I have been really talking about when you have business confidence, you could do anything. We kind of talked about how confidence in any area, right, is that trust. That if you have the trust in yourself, and then Rob talked about having trust in your team. Do you have the trust in your team that you can build a team? And it really comes back to business confidence. And then I want to talk about how we've got some apps that are helping you have that kind of business confidence. Not us, but there's some apps out there that I've been using, and we just had a good old time. So here it is, everybody. Rob, what are you talking about business confidence? And you talked about a jump shot and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was listening, and we love watching. Excuse me. Excuse me. So we love watching My First Millionaire, and they had Scott Galloway on there the other day, and he said something that I thought was so important that doesn't get said a lot, and it really hit me because I remember when in my entrepreneurial journey there was one of those things, out there in the in the media sphere, you got all of these people like, you just got to hustle hard, you got to grind, you got to do this, you got 80-hour weeks and blah blah blah, and it sounds great, right? But one of the things that Scott Galloway said on that podcast, he was like, depending on where you are in life, the pathway that works for you in entrepreneurship is different. Yeah. And so many people talk about it like there's one path and there's one thing, and you gotta commit to it. And it's like there's certain things that it doesn't matter how hard you commit to it, it's not gonna work for you, right? It didn't matter how much Muggsy Bogues worked on his skyhook. That was not gonna be the shot that was gonna get him buckets, right? Because he can't do this over nobody at 5'3". Like, for those of you all who don't know, Muggsy Bogues, the smallest player to ever play in the NBA, he was 5'3", and he was an NBA player. If you go back and look at Space Jam with Michael Jordan, he was the little dude, right? So there's certain things that don't work for certain people, and we have to be aware of that, and we have to understand that, because when you're going to be successful in business, this is what Randy and I were talking about off camera, you have to have confidence in what you're doing, right? And people oftentimes will struggle with either a lack of confidence in their ability to do the business, or a lack of confidence in their ability to build the team to do the business, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the two places that I see a lot. And today we want to talk about the first one, right? A lot of the work that I do with organizations and with companies, with my consulting company, is helping people to learn to build a team and to get the best out of people. But before you can build the team, you have to have the confidence that you can build the business. You have to have the confidence that you can make the money, that you have product market fit, that you have all the rest of that. And there's a lot of stuff that entrepreneurs struggle with, I think, in trying to figure that out. I remember even for me, that's the biggest thing of knowing that I could build something from scratch that generated lots of money, generated more money than I ever made when I was working a job. That was the belief that was difficult. And that was the piece that I was really working in. But one of the things that was interesting to me was part of the reason why it was difficult is because also the how of generating that money, everything that I got was something where you had to be doing it without taking care of your family, without taking care of your kids. It was the hustle and grind mentality. Right. Mm-hmm. And it was great for 20 somethings with no responsibilities and no bills and all the rest of that. But like when you really look at it, when I was starting my entrepreneurial journey, my real entrepreneurial journey, I was almost 40 with a wife and 2 kids, right? And bills and all of the things. And not only just the bills, but also wanting to go to my daughter's basketball games and my son's football games and not being willing to miss that stuff because I had just come off of being in the Marine Corps and missing those things and convincing myself that it was okay to miss those things because the work that I was doing was important. And my family understood, and everybody, like, it's a sacrifice and all the rest of it. And don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge that. I think that, that was definitely a reality that we dealt with, but it made me very acutely aware that I didn't want to do that in order to get quote unquote rich, in order to make money, in order to do my business. And so, I mean, we've talked about this a lot of times on camera, off camera, right? One of the reasons that I've deliberately done my business the way that I've done it, yes, we could have made more money sooner. We could have done a lot of things, but I refuse to be on the road 50 weeks a year. I refuse to be not making certain things. I refuse to not be home, right, for the things that my daughter's recitals and plays and all that type of stuff. That was something that was non-negotiable for me. And I think that a lot of times when you hear that, people will say, well, you just don't want to be successful then. I'm like, no, that's not true. And there's a lot of people out there right now that have whatever their non-negotiables are. And I want to, I hope that we can kind of walk you through today with some of the apps, some of the things that are out there, that you don't have to give up what's important to you in order to be successful. But you do have to do an analysis of whether what's important to you is compatible with success, right? If what's important to you is sleeping 80 hours a week, then you're going to have to figure out how in those other 88 hours, how can you be very successful, right? Yeah. And so certain avenues are not going to work for you. You're going to need to do certain things that are hyper, right, exponential.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
This is why we get together and do this, right? These two business guys mastermind to solve our own shit, right? Oftentimes, right? So, or to hear ourselves, to bank it off of somebody else and to get their opinion. Sometimes it's pretty brutal. Sometimes it's inspiring. Sometimes we think about it later. And now we just happen to be in an era where, and I was listening to a lot of Dan Priestley, right? And what he was talking about, Dan Priestley, has scorecard app, which I'm going to be checking out pretty soon. And he has built multiple 6-figure, 7-figure companies, right? And he says a couple of them he's never even been into. And when I heard that, I was like, what do you mean never? He's never been in them. He built the team, and he was the person of influence, POI, right? And I was like, oh, I get that now, right? And I had always personally struggled with the idea of letting go of the reins outside of my sphere of influence, if you will, building it all myself. And I'm trying to come out of that. Not already all the way there. Trying to come out of that. That is like, and I'm pretty heavy into, well, can I do it with an app? In other words, a something. So now I'm getting my mind around the idea that it's either going to be someone, the who, right? We talked about that before in some other casts.
Right.
And then a what, right?
Yeah.
So instead of a how, no longer do I even ask how, because I know there's a way.
Right. Because you realize the leverage point. Right.
I realize that there's an app out there that I can leverage, that there is a person that I can call that can get anything you want to get done. Now the rest becomes this trust and belief issue. Now we've talked about this before in some of the other casts, but it keeps coming back because we keep hearing things about entrepreneurs, whether we're working with them or we see it and we go, that person doesn't believe.
Yeah.
Right. They doesn't believe.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I sent Rob, Rob, look, this guy just got tossed out of his own company, just like they did Steve Jobs, just like they did Famous Amos. Now they just tossed Sam Altman out of OpenAI. And in the conversation, it was, we don't believe that he can take us to, or we don't believe something. So somebody's got all this money in the company, and they're looking at this guy and going, we don't trust or believe he can take us
he's the guy
to where we want to go.
Yeah. And here's the funny part about
incredible.
Here's the funny part about that, because and I think Steve Jobs and Sam Altman, Famous Amos, all those guys, they're a great example of what it looks like at that level when others don't believe in you. But the thing I think we're talking about, and what I think most of the entrepreneurs like most of our listeners are looking at, is that same feeling, that same thing exists if you don't believe, right? You've got to believe that you can make it. And there's different leverage points and different levers. And the first one, though, is you've got to believe that you can do what's necessary to make the business work. And for a lot of you all, you're still trying to find what the business is, how it can make money, what's the system that's going to work, all of those things. And so the thing that I highly recommend for you all is that you figure out what works for you. Mm-hmm. You figure out what, like, there's this kind of this belief that I'm going to completely change myself, and that's how I'm going to become a really good entrepreneur. Like, don't believe that. Like, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works. Now, in the process, you will probably change and be a different person, but you won't see that before. You'll see it after, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, what you need to do is find things that fit with your lifestyle, fit with who you are, fit with your desires, fit with your likes, all the rest of that, and find things in those areas that make money. Not because, like, not the happy-go-lucky, oh, you want to do what you love, and no, it's not so much that as much as it is
don't do what you love, do what other people love.
Exactly, right? That coincides with what you love. But the key is realize that the harder the thing is, the more friction, the more drag on your way to get there, the more willpower you have to use to get good at it.
And are you willing, whereas if you, at this stage in your life, to do it?
Exactly, right? Like, because again, if you're a 25-year-old that has very little debt and, you know, no responsibilities, no kids, no parents to take care of, none of that, and it's just you, and you can sleep on a couch, or you can, you know, room with 4 other people, and all you need is a little space. Like, yes, you can spend days, hours, weeks, whatever, just crunching and grinding and doing whatever you need to do. But again, if you're somebody that's, you know, mid-30s, even in your 40s, with children that are growing in various stages, all the rest of that, single or married, you've got other obligations, right? You've got other people that need your time, not just want your time, need your time.
Need your time. And that's so. I was reading a book that you had turned me on to, Buy Back Your Time. Mm-hmm. And in there, he said that. Now, I didn't really connect with the book because it was a book, right? It was 2 million words. It was just too much, man. Right. But what I did gather from it was a story in there where he says, you know, some guy was like, I was out there doing it for them. And the guy said to them, the author says, they didn't ask for that.
Exactly.
They didn't ask for you to be gone 1 million, hours a week and all that kind of stuff, right? And he thought, well, I was doing it for but now, listen, everybody, we've got, at this stage, we've got all the opportunities to leverage, right? And, I was just using an app the other day, for example, and it was, I like using Loom, but then, Loom I couldn't, something that wasn't doing for me. I wouldn't get my face in the bubble or something. I'm calling them up saying, hey, why am I facing the bubble? I said, well, you're using the app wrong. Okay. So then by that time I had already checked out another app, and I thought, well, this one looks pretty good too. I like it. It's called Komodo Decks, right? So I'm going to show y'all a little bit of that here in a minute. But then once I like what Loom did, and I like something that Komodo Decks did, right? So I says, well, they're not that expensive, so I'm just going to get both. Mm-hmm. So now I find myself literally having 2 of most things that I'm using. So I got 2 LMSs because that one does this really well, and that one. But then I try to find it, and this is, so you don't end up spending too much money. Is together they're still less expensive than that one. Right. So then together you kind of go, I mean, it's an attention thing, but at the same time, if you've ever been kicked off of like a, and I ain't gonna say the name, but if you've ever been kicked off some kind of, email type of service or whatever, when it says, hey, look, we think you're spamming people or whatever. And then they say, get out of here. And you don't have an alternative. And then you lose all your contacts. Well, you know what I'm talking about. So always having a backup, and always having an opportunity to, have that a same conversation a different way. It's almost like doing a constant A/B split test. So, and now we have that as an opportunity, Rob, to literally be all we want to be.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is what's exciting to me at
Yeah.
this stage in my life. It's like, I just want optionality. I want massive flexibility, and I want some money.
Yep. And I think it's important that one other thing that's in there is you want something that works.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of stuff out there where we're hoping that it'll do what we want it to do or whatever. And I think one of the things for the entrepreneurs out there, one of the things I always look for is, do I know that this is going to get me results? If this is going to get me results, then I can have confidence in the work, because I know that I'm going to work. I know that I'm going to put in the work. But the question is, right, and I think you said this before, and it might have been a Stephen Coveyism, but right, like the whole question of like, yes, I know I can climb the ladder, but is the ladder leaning up against the right
It's the
wall?
right wall. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You like, I did all this work, and you get up there and go, what is this mess?
Exactly. And I think that some of the things, and this is where Randy is really awesome, because he goes through and he finds a lot of these different things. And so like, and he does the work of, are they leaning against the right wall for you? So once you look at the thing, then you can just go use it with that confidence and just put the work in. So I think
and Rob
that's a really
challenged me,
beneficial
y'all.
thing.
So he challenged me. He says, bro, so I told him one day, I says, man, I counted up one day. I says, over the course of this year, I think I might have bought like 73 different apps. And he says, that could be the business. And it got me thinking. I thought, so of course, what do? I spin up a YouTube channel, and my attention, of course, got diverted. But anyway, so because that was his new shiny thing. But anyway, so then I thought, but that is true. So I'm now building out the page that says, here are the apps I use. I found that I had pursued that before, Rob, and I already had a logo, everything. And I think it was the digital tools to use to make money online or something like that. And I had already had the app, so I just spun it up, put it there. Now it's waiting for me to show these things. And there's a guy that I'm modeling now that does just that. That's all he does. His name is Tim Verdau, I think it is. Tim Verdau, Douw, if you guys want to look him up. But that's all he does. He'll get on, he'll try an app. He has a dedicated page with his name under it. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, should I use my name real estate to be basically a app trier? But he makes a lot of money doing these things. And I'm already using this stuff. So it makes sense, right? Become an affiliate for it. And this is some of the things that I show you in Monetize Your Life Academy, is that this is what I do. I show you how to use whatever's in front of you and to, leverage it to make money and to make your life convenient, and to get you that flexibility and to give you all these different things. Right? Follow that passion, make some profit, right? Not the other way around, not the poor artist stuff. So that's one of the things that now I find myself doing a lot. I'll get excited about this app. I'll use it. I'll see the use case. And then now it's report out. Show you how to use it. Show you how you can leverage it in your life. Show you how you can do it to, make some money. And so I got a couple of them. And then, of course,
I was just about to say, so I'm excited about this app because I haven't seen this one that the Loom replacement. So,
oh my gosh,
talk to me about what you like about
it. Let me go ahead and show y'all. All right, so it's called Komodo Decks, and I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen real quick, and get you guys into it and show you what I did just with one video the other day. Can you see this screen right here?
Yep.
All right, so this was one of our.
Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, this is one of our recordings. So what I ended up doing is I says, okay, I was in, and this is kind of what got me. I was in Loom. Sorry, Loom. Y'all know I sent y'all an email. So I was in Loom, and I was taking this recording and I loaded it up to Loom because I wanted the words out. I wanted it to transcribe it. But Loom's got this funny thing. They'll transcribe it, but they'll put timestamps on it. Well, in order to get the timestamps off, you got to go and you got to put it in, Microsoft Word, or just literally go line by line. But now you're taking time. Well, I says, I wonder if Komodo Decks would allow me to get the same thing. So I loaded up in the Komodo Decks. Let's go ahead and here's the actual video. But I noticed some other stuff. So everybody, on today's episode, Rob and I have been doing a lot of reading and all this kind of stuff, and we want to share a couple of things with you. And we'll get to that in a second. But one of the topic of conversation that's top of mind for both of us is, so now this was an episode. So I said to myself, okay, well, can I take this and then repurpose the heck out of it? So that was why I got excited about, right? So now I know I can do it in Loom. This is what we talked about. Trust. Do I have trust in the product will work? Do I have trust in myself? That's what's kind of lacking because I got to kind of, focus and get it done. Do I have belief that from that I can then take it and repurpose and do other things? But this is what I found with this particular app. With Komodo, it gives you some extra stuff you can do. And I just found it. Like, you see that little button right there? I say, get more insights here. So literally on app, you can direct people to something else. Now, can you do this in Loom? Yes, you can. But again, remember what I was doing? I was trying to find an alternative that's a little different, faster. Do I get the same kind of link? Yes, you do. You get a link. But then I found out that this app has also, and it's in beta. So look at this. So in beta, they have a page builder. So now I can take this, take it over to a page, and then use it almost like a landing page. Now, keep in mind, I build landing pages all the time, but I have a dedicated thing for that. But this one is all right there. It's easy to just take this recording, get the words out. Now, this is something I did find, that it didn't do the words as good as Loom did. Loom got transcribed everything, although it had timestamps. This one kind of got stuck on something, and I was like, wait, I had to send them an email. But my point here, y'all, is that once you have confidence that you can take a bit of information and then now think about how you can repurpose it, and then how you can take that information, and I'm going to show you this next thing that I did with it, Rob, is I got the words out. I then went over to ChatGPT and I started playing around and asking questions. I started saying, hey, ChatGPT, and this is just this particular GPT. There's another one that I got called Harpa, OMG. Harpa, HARPA. At first, I had to figure out how to use it, but oh my gosh, once I did, it was incredible. But anyway, so I took the words over here, I put it over into ChatGPT, and I said, hey, ChatGPT, take a look at what Rob and I just did. And then I said, now y'all know, y'all been hearing about doing this kind of stuff anyway. You see what happened? I put the words in just from Loom, and it gave me these timestamps. So that kind of ticked me off, right? But I says, okay, no big deal. I put it in ChatGPT, and I says, ChatGPT, I'm going to put this in, and let me show you all the prompt that I put in to ask the question. I says, review this talk and pull out keywords that could rank on first page of Google. Share the intent of the video and create a headline to show dominant emotions to help and how it can help people and desired outcomes that can be achieved by listening. Show optimized keywords and put in a table. All right. So ChatGPT says, yeah, okay, fine. I'll do it. Put it all in. And then it gave me this. Hopefully I'm not going too fast for y'all, but here it is. So I got it. You see all these timestamps. That's kind of like, okay, all right, that's fine. But then it gave you here, it says intent. It says, bam. The intent of the video is to discuss challenges and strategies involved scaling your business, especially focusing on the concept of 10x growth. That's what Rob and I talked about. It emphasizes the need for personal and business transformation to achieve significant growth, the importance of delegation and using systems, including software and AI. It happens to be what we were talking about that day, but it also listened to everything we were saying. So then I get the big idea, says, okay, well, give me some more. And it says, okay, here's the dominant emotion. Now, I just learned to use these prompts by buying a $1 book. Literally, I bought this book for $1 from John Morrow because I was listening to him on another podcast. It's the beauty of listening to podcasts like ours. So it says, if you're going to be listening here, I'll give it to you for $1. That's a business move, y'all. Right? I don't want to go too much into the weeds, Rob, but you see what I'm saying? You're on somebody else's, you're borrowing their authority. Listen to the lesson here. You then offer something, and then once I bought it for $1, they had the upsell for $200. I didn't buy that, but I was like, oh, this is something to learn.
I see what you did there. There you go.
I see what you did there. So now you're your confidence and your trust in the fact that you can find out how to do something from something you already saw. So you're modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have apps. So that was the sum one. This is the sum thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now the rest is up to you. So I says, okay, great. Here's what it's giving me. Here's the dominant emotion that I learned just recently to ask a specific kind of question of your GPTs. It says inspiration, enlightenment, empowerment. So I can literally use this inspiration, enlightenment, empowerment. This is what we're giving you today. Bam. People get that. They want that. It seems to be a thing that is lacking in a lot of us. Then it says desired outcome. Desired outcomes is to equip entrepreneurs, because I asked it a certain way. Give me what would be the desired outcome. So now this tool is also helping with that belief and that trust that you can spin up anything. Then it says, okay, give me an idea of the headline, right? I didn't really care for the headline too much, but unlocking the potential of 10x growth. Okay. Transforming your mindset and business strategies for exponential success. One thing a GPT would do is give you flowery language. Now I know how to now prompt it to not give you so much flowery language, but this is good. 10x, transform your mindset in business. I happen to have an old e-course that didn't do well that I'm now repurposing, and I'm going to use those kind of words. But then also look what it did, Rob. It gave me keywords and phrases. Look what it says. Below is a table of keywords that are likely to resonate with the themes of the video and have the potential to rank well on Google. Bam. Now, I know Sam Altman just rolled out the new version of ChatGPT 4, and the new version actually comes up to the year you're in versus 2 years prior, right? So now we're up to the year we're in, which is beautiful, right? And all of a sudden it's booted out of the company because I think he saw, hey, I could use this, but then somebody gave you a whole bunch of money and they're saying, you're getting ready to just crush our company. And he probably is like, well, I got to reach technology. And said, no, you got to go. Anyway, maybe. Anyway, but look at here. So 10th growth strategies, boom, relevance to the video content, high. That's telling you what you just talked about. It's relevant to what's being talked about out there, right? So this is one of those things where you might miss doing, like you said, doing stuff from passion, doing stuff. Oh, I want to build a business for passion. No, you want to build business on things that people are passionate about, or people are having aspirations to do.
Exactly. So like Michael Gerber said, if you're trying to do something for your passion, go get a job. If you're trying to do something, if you're trying to build a business, do something that other people are passionate about, so that they're willing to pay you to build systems that get it to them easier or better or with higher quality.
Yeah. And you see everybody, I'm getting, there haven't been much of a comma. There's been only commas, no periods in what I'm talking about, because I get excited about this part of it. And that's what I talk about. This is what you should be doing, showing people.
Yeah, and the thing that happened, I think, really quickly to kind of put a couple of points, because he dropped some nuggets in here, right? One of the things that you saw is Randy found a tool that does certain things, right? But he also talked about repurposing content. He also talked about, right, utilizing AI, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff that is out there right now, especially for those of you all that are struggling because you don't have 150 hours a week that you can put towards building your business. There's stuff that's out there right now that can dramatically reduce the amount of time it takes for you to get things done, right? I just look at the stuff that we do with ChatGPT, even in my company, and a lot of stuff, like I've written articles, or I've done research, or I've had it edit, I've had it do a whole bunch of different things that in the matter of a couple of minutes, right, in a half hour, I can do a lot of brainstorming work, because I can just kind of do a brain dump in the ChatGPT and then have it sort through and tell me what it sees and tell me what the patterns are, tell me what the recurring themes are, all these different types of things. And that's the piece that I think for those of you all that are out there that are looking to have more confidence in your ability to get to a good result, learning these tools, learning this stuff is going to be extremely important for you, right? And if you don't know it, this comes to the other lever, right? So you got the one lever of your confidence in your ability, but then the other lever in growth and scaling is your confidence in somebody else's ability. So there's a book that you all need to read called Who Not How.
Who Not How.
If you haven't read it,
I've read it. It's awesome.
Exactly, right. Like we have, off camera, Randy and I talk about it all the time, how transformational that book is because it gets you out of the mindset of feeling like you need to be the person that has to be able to do all of this stuff in your business. You don't. As a matter of fact, it's better for you to go find somebody that's better than you at doing it because they'll probably figure out a way that you wasn't even thinking about to get it done faster, better, cheaper than you was thinking about doing.
Right. And wait, there's more. So next, Rob, what I did was, is I said, okay, this is something I learned. It says, ignore the topic, the original topic. Now imagine you are a course creator for great courses, right? Based on these keywords, the title, the dominating motion, outline a short e-course based on this or a paid for webinar or workshop. Make sure it's massive value, will be given to the buyer, blah, 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 blah. So then ChatGPT says, okay, that's fine. And then it came up with the course title, right? Unlocking the potential, blah, blah, blah. Then it just says it should be a webinar series. And that kind of got me thinking because, again, remember we talked about this last week. All I want to do is teach from this point forward, right?
Mm-hmm,
how can I do more of that? Workshops,
webinars.
And that's, if you look at the board behind me, that's one of the things that I ended up well, you can't see the board now, but do more workshop, do more webinars. So that's what I'm going to be doing every single day. Some kind of workshop, some kind of course, some kind of that teaches. Then it talked about it. Weekly live sessions with Q&A, supplemented by resources like worksheet, case studies, and interactive assignments. We have been talking about that because we've been turned on to Mrs. Murgatroyd. I don't remember her first name, but Marisa Murgatroyd, and she talks about the interactiveness of things that you're doing and how it's going to be better because you have GPTs that can get people information. So then it just outlined the whole course. Now what happens next is you, and this is where many of us fall off. We have all the information. We have all of the how-to. We got some who's, we got some tools to use. The question becomes, and this is where I've been finding that there is a significant amount of untapped business potential, Rob, is in the, would you like me to help you do it? Now, does that mean it is a degree of showing up, doing the work? Yes. But when Rob goes to a company, that's basically what we're asking for as a company. Accountability.
Yeah.
It helps with the trust. It helps with the belief that I can get it done because I got somebody helping me, or I got somebody right there spotting me, like in the gym. This is untapped, y'all. So if you're listening to this, you got this far in the video, well, obviously, subscribe to the channel, send it to somebody, but at the same time, see what we just said there. Untap, walk alongside people and says, hey, I got the tools. You've got the whatever you've just built. Let's create some money together.
And I think that wraps up into the original point that we talked about really nicely, right? If you don't have your own confidence, borrow somebody else's. Right? When you're in the gym, and I love that analogy, right? When you have a spotter, what that spotter does is it tells you this weight is not going to kill you. Like if you can't lift it, it's not going to kill you because there's somebody else there that can help in that situation. It reduces the risk of catastrophic failure, right? It makes it so that you don't have to worry about falling to zero. And just that alone, like a lot of people don't realize how important that is to your ability to push harder, to try more, to go further. And I think that point, right? However you got to do it, if you got to get a coach, if you got to join a program, if you got to get a mentor, whatever it is, you want to have somebody that is your accountability / safety partner in this journey, because it's going to dramatically improve your ability to push more than you thought you could, because your safety question, your worry about whether or not you're going to be able to do the work and whether or not you're going to be able to be consistent and all those types of things denimishes greatly. And so I think that's a great point
in whether or not you can do it. You said it earlier, man. It was so and I think we were off camera when you said oftentimes that business confidence comes because, or lack of confidence comes because they don't trust that they can lead people. And I can't remember the last part you says that they can lead people to
success. Yeah.
To success.
Yeah, yeah. Those are those two sides, right? You've got the side where I'm not sure if I can lead people to do what I know I can do, right? Those are the people that are struggling with the leverage, that are struggling to build teams, that are struggling to hire, that are struggling to bring other people in. Those are kind of your micromanagers, your control fanatics, right? But then you got this other side that we've been talking about today, where they're not sure that they can keep from failing themselves. And I think that analogy that you gave, right, with working out and the spotter and everything is so apropos, right? At the end of the day, again, if you don't have the belief that you can do it, borrow somebody else's belief,
Yeah, that's
borrow
it.
somebody else, bring somebody else in. Don't just keep going through life not believing and therefore not doing, right?
And
Get
that's
to
why
the
they
point where
hire
you're like,
you,
I'm going to get it done.
right? I
Exactly.
mean, you get now. I'm talking about having assistance with using an app, but at the same time, remember what I also talked about. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you using
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So, but when you bring somebody in as a spotter, they don't. Not only do they say, "Here's the equipment, and I'm gonna stand here,
Uh-huh.
show you the right way." That's what Rob does. Show you
Yeah.
the right way to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Watch you use it, and make sure there
Mm-hmm.
ain't no catastrophic failure. In other words, that you
Mm-hmm.
don't just tax the
Crush your chest.
benefit of what you're, are out there seeking. So if you're seeing this and you're going, man, I hadn't thought about it like that. I've been trying to hoist this thing up by myself and not getting results.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
Right? Either
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
lack of trust, or you got the equipment, but yet you're not using it.
Yeah.
That becomes, oh my gosh, a huge way. Rob, I had actually thought about doing this once. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if this makes sense. We got to go, y'all. But I had thought about putting out and I may still do it, is just saying, you've got the app, I'll show you how to use it. Because people got a lot of apps. And this came out of a
Yeah.
guy who had over $10,000 worth of apps.
Mm-hmm.
I met him,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh my gosh, bro. I said, send some of those to me. I'll show you how to use it. So that's what I
There
did. I
you go.
started working with him, showing him how to use his own apps.
There you go.
So imagine you got these systems, you got all these
Yep.
things in place, but you're
Yep.
not achieving what you want to achieve. That's when you call somebody like
That's
us.
when you call exactly. That's when you call a coach in. That's when you call a spotter in. And Randy is your apps and how to leverage yourself and do things yourself guy. And if that's something that you all are looking for, make sure you reach out. You got the information in the comments in the description. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the channel, share this with somebody. And and if you all for any of you all that are out there that are doing any of this, if you find an app or you find something that you're doing, or if you go get a coach and it works, put it in the comments. Tell us that story. We want to hear about how you're leveling up, how these talks are helping you all. So put that in the comments.
All right, that's it, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.